The following podcast is a mass media production.
Hi, I'm Josh Galindo.
And I'm Krystal Galindo. Welcome to the Galindo Rugrats and Renovations podcast.
A lifestyle podcast where we will offer our experience and expertise in building real, lasting wealth through renovating and flipping homes.
And the chaos that comes with balancing a family of 6, leaving nothing unsaid.
Follow our wild ride we call life and apply our lessons to your own journey.
Okay, guys, I'm going to take a second to talk about one of our sponsors, Desert Radiology. I know from personal experience how important early detection really is. That's why I recommend Desert Radiology. They have been serving the community for over 55 years and have convenient locations all across the valley. Not only are they a trusted radiology partner of 12 area hospitals, but they are the official imaging partner for all of the Las Vegas sports teams, like the Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, Lights, Aviators, UNLV, and the Henderson Silver Knights. To learn more, visit their website at www.desertrad.com or make an appointment at 702-759-8600. Welcome to Galindo Rugrats and Renovations podcast, season 3.
All right.
Yes.
Today we got a good episode.
I know. I'm nervous.
Episode.
I don't know why, but I'm excited.
You know what's fun about it is it's not real estate related, and it's because usually it's either real estate related or health related, but it's not real estate related, and it's health related with an amazing batch of news.
Yes, right. So last time I kind of gave a health update. I was preparing for my surgery, which was my double mastectomy, which if you don't know what a mastectomy is.
Which we're learning that a lot of people don't know.
Right.
And arguably I didn't know until I had to know. So I think it's a fair thing to not know.
Right. So there, if you have breast cancer, there's a couple options that you do have for surgery. I didn't have all those options, but some people do. So there's something called a lumpectomy where they would just take like the lump and the area around it. Just take that and your rest of your boobs stay. You could do a single mastectomy, which is when they just take all the breast tissue from one breast, or, for better prevention and lower chance of recurrence, you could do a double mastectomy, which I opted to do because, 1, I don't want to ever have to do this again. But 2, I have the BRCA2 gene, so I do have a higher level of recurrence if I didn't get rid of all of my breast tissue. So a double mastectomy is they cut you open. They literally take all of your tissue, everything that they can. So, and it's called skin sparing because they save your skin, but they take all the breast tissue. For me, I also wanted to save my nipples, which not everybody has that option. And so I chose to do that, which you opt for it, but it doesn't always guarantee. So I remember, right when I got out of surgery, I was like, do I have my nipples? Mm-hmm. So last time we updated you, I was preparing for my surgery. I am now 2 weeks out from my surgery, and everything went basically as perfect as it could. They went in, they took all the tissue. They said they couldn't even find the tumor anymore because chemo basically obliterated it, that she couldn't tell the difference between the cancer tissue and the other tissue because it was just gone. So thank you, chemo, which I thought I would never say. And in my lymph node, there was cancer in my lymph node before, but it was no longer in my lymph node as well. So that was very exciting. And the amount that was in my lymph node is so minimal that they don't think I should have to do radiation, which I'm still praying that I won't have to. But I genuinely feel like I won't have to do radiation.
I don't think you will either. So what does all that conclude?
So we had my surgery on the 29th of September. I went into my follow-up appointment on October 5th. And on October 5th, they told me that there's no evidence of disease and I am 100% cancer-free. I know. Yay!
That's
so
right. 100%
we got the best news.
Cancer-free.
We got the best news
cancer-free.
ever. Yes. And I had the follow-up appointment with my breast surgeon and my oncologist, and they both were smiling so big. They were giving me hugs. They're like, this is the best results that we could have asked for. There's literally no better result. So
There's no better result on so many
cancer's
levels.
ass is what happened.
Yes, you did. I mean, you fucked that shit up.
Anyways.
Yes. So Krystal's cancer-free.
I am cancer-free.
That's it.
And this has been such a heavy weight on us the last 9 months, which is crazy that it's only been 9 months. But it's made us so much more passionate about helping others with when they're going through cancer and their mentality. So we're having our first Galindo Gives event, which we started a nonprofit. It's called Galindo Gives. You got to stick with the G's, right?
Of course.
And we will be collecting donations and holding charity events to help other people afford the cold capping, which is what saved my hair, which is what saved my mentality throughout my process to make it more manageable. And I could still live my life without restriction, I guess.
Man. I don't even know what to say. You crushed that.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no, I'll just recap.
Yeah.
So that was Krystal's experience. And for me on the other side, it was an interesting emotional roller coaster that I was going through because we didn't know if, they don't know. There could still be cancer left. It could have traveled. Yeah. It could have... there's a lot of things that were still a variable, and it wasn't what you wanted to know, which was that it's cancer-free. They can't tell you that before surgery, but you're about to get your answer. It's basically like, did you win or not? And someone's scratching open the envelope, and you hear it tearing, and then they're pulling the card out, and you're just sitting there going, I need the answer. Tell me the answer. Tell me the answer. So for me, that process lasted probably 3 days before the surgery, through the surgery, and then
through the recovery.
And honestly, for me, I knew we had optimistic news. I knew we were moving in the optimistic news department when both surgeons came out, and when the breast surgeon said that the tumor was undefinable.
Yes.
She couldn't tell if she was touching breast tissue that was healthy or breast tissue that was infected with cancer cells. And so for me, that obviously gave me a lot of hope and faith. And then, as Krystal said, when we went to the appointment with the breast surgeon who read the oncology report, I remember sitting in that room, and I was also pretty emotionally heavy at that moment. And it's kind of funny, so I'm going to slow it down because I think it's worth taking note to. We're sitting there, it's the highs and the how's everybody doing, and you look great, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just thinking, I need the fucking answer. I need this answer. I need it like right now. I need the answer. And I don't want it any other way but yes or no. And she's playing with her computer, and she's just like, dang it, the computer's a little slow today, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, let's go. And then the computer slowly turns on, and I'm like, doctor, you got to tell me if she is or isn't. Like, I'm about to lose it. And she goes, I need to read the oncology.
She said, I was very happy with your pathology report. And you were like, so you got to tell me. And she's like, I just want to read the pathology report to you.
And I'm like, no.
Just tell me.
So she read this. So in my mind, I'm like, be patient, be patient, be patient, be patient. And then she's like, she reads it. And all that is jargon to me. I need you to tell me like this. I need to hear it back the way I'm going to tell it to you. Krystal is cancer-free. I need you to say it like that. And she said, Krystal is cancer-free. Yeah. And I was like, got my answer.
Yeah. And then she started talking about other stuff. You're like, I don't even care. I'm like, no, babe, we need to listen to everything.
Yeah, that was cool. And yeah, it's a wild ride, man. It's a wild ride. You don't realize how tough you are until you go through something that you got to be tough to go through.
Yeah. One thing I want to touch on, and this would probably... If you haven't gone through it, you might not understand. If you have gone through it, I know you understand. It's because cancer was so full frontal on your mind all the time, you start to think like, oh, wait, I feel like I'm cramping my ovary. Like, oh my gosh, is that cancer? Like, do I have cancer there? So hearing that the chemo was so destructive to the tumor that I knew I had and to my lymph node, if there was any other cancer cells floating around, the chemo was so effective for me that I don't have to worry about if there was something else somewhere else.
Right.
Because it killed it all.
And something that I want to say, because we're still, now we're so relevant in that community. Krystal's being texted and questions, and everybody's kind of explaining their journey to Krystal, and people are still going about this in different ways, and to each their own, and listen to your doctors and all the other stuff. But I think something that was really good for us was we left the tumor in during the chemo process, so that the analogy that the doctor used was that was the mothership of cancer. If you could kill the mothership, all of its babies will also die. If you pull out the mothership first, which a lot of people will opt for a surgery first because it's very tempting to do. You want this cancer out of your body.
Get it out of me. Get it out of me.
So it's kind of a decision you have to make to say, do I leave it in so that we have something visual that we can watch shrink?
So that you know that it worked.
That it's working. Yeah. So,
because basically, if you have surgery first, they're taking out the tumor, then you do chemo. You don't know to what level your body responded with the chemo, because we just recently found out that there is a chemo response rate. So I do have friends that got an 80 response rate to chemo, which means it didn't kill all the cancer cells, it just killed most of them. So if you have the tumor in there, that's how you can know if your body responded to chemo. And it's really a level of comfort for my mind knowing that leaving it in, the chemo killed it.
Yeah. There's comfort in knowing that it went from being able to visually see it
to not being able to find it.
To
see it shrink,
touch it, and have to find it with touch, all the way to where we couldn't even find it with touch. So there was progress, visual, tangible progress. And I think taking that tumor out first would have taken that from us and leaves you with more unknown.
Yes.
But yeah, so she's cancer-free. What do we do now? I don't know. What do you go do now? We just enjoy life, and I'm just so thankful for the outcome that we've had. And the best thing that I think we could do is just give back until a point that we feel like we've given back enough, or we get more passionate about it, and that grows. I mean, who knows how that goes down? But as Krystal said, we converted what we called Galindo Gives previously, which was what we did previously was we would go and collect a bunch of money and gifts and then hand them out during Christmas time. And it was really just a cause. But now we've actually formed a formal entity that's a nonprofit that is legit, that will collect money, and then that money will go towards paying or subsidizing, which we might need to subsidize because it may allow us to touch more people, the cost of the cold capping. So each cold cap course, if for lack of a better word, costs about $4,000. And we've already raised.
And that depends on your chemo regimen. So I had 6 months of chemo. So it's a monthly rental system. So because I had 6 months, of course, it's going to be more expensive for me versus somebody who has 4 treatments that's only 3 months. So it just varies on your chemo regimen.
Right. Actually, that's a good point. And I'm glad you said that, because now maybe that means we could touch more people, because not everybody will need the $4,000 regimen.
Right.
So one more thing I want to double down on that Krystal was kind of speaking of quickly was the reason we value the cold capping so much was, one, we have little kids, and unfortunately this terrible disease is affecting all ages, is what it seems like. This was kind of there was a misconception, or maybe it was a reality, and maybe things are changing. But at least for me, in my mind, I only thought people that were older would get this
and would die,
and would unfortunately would die. But it's affecting all ages. So if it affects all ages, there's a good chance that there's little kids in the family. If there's little kids in the family, something that was of value to us was not telling them. And the reason is I think it helped preserve Krystal's mental health, and I think it helped preserve the children's mental health, and obviously mine, because I would be sitting there witnessing it all.
Yes.
So you tell an 8-year-old kid, Mom has cancer. What does he do? He goes to the school. He goes, my mom has cancer. Well, what does the kid that he just told that to say back? And he goes, oh, your mom's going to die.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay, let that set in for a second. Okay, and then why does he experience that? Because any kid that's 8 years old that's experienced cancer generally understands that the outcome is death. So now Beckham was told by one of his friends that his mom's going to die. So now Beckham comes home and wants to confirm that newfound opinion from his friend. So he looks at his mom and he goes, Mom, are you going to die?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Ugh. Yeah. So that's a very heavy thing to experience. So how do you
no good reason.
For no good reason. So how do you combat cancer? You use chemo. What does chemo do? It kills your hair follicles. So now you look like you got cancer. So how do you keep it from your children, or how do you? So the children part was one thing. I think I explained that pretty well. And then there's Krystal's perspective. Mm-hmm. For the last 9 months, she had to be tough mentally because she knew, but she was able to look in the mirror and see healthy.
Yeah.
And see the Krystal that she knew before she had cancer.
Yes.
And because she was able to do that, I think mental health always manifests and translates into physical health. And I think the cold capping is what did that, or at least helped with that.
Yes.
So that is why I am personally passionate about it. I think Krystal's personally passionate about it, and why we think cold capping, it needs to have more awareness. Mm-hmm. Why I think people that aren't able to afford it because insurance won't pay for it need to have it paid for. And if Krystal and I can give back by sponsoring people that need it, we want to be able to do that.
Yes.
So what I would ask is, if you're listening, do not hesitate to contribute. Because I don't know if we can articulate just how important it is, but it is so important. And I would hope that by you being able to contribute, it would make you feel good knowing that you are helping someone through a very tough journey and making it easier on them. So how do you give? You go to GalindoGroupRealEstate.com, GalindoGroupRealEstate.com, and then there is a tab at the top that says Galindo Gives. You can click on that, and you can just shoot a Venmo over. I don't care if it's $5 or if it's $5,000. I don't care if it's even $1.
Right.
Anything helps. It all goes towards people that need cold caps.
Yes.
So
and there's also an Instagram, Galindo Gives, that has the Venmo information, the QR code. And then on there, we're actually having an event on October 22nd, right?
Let's see. Is it October 22nd? It's this Friday, October 22nd. Yep.
Yes, on October 22nd, it's ping pong for tatas. So we're having a ping pong tournament.
At our personal home.
At our personal home. And all the donations raised will be going towards the providing cold caps for people that are unable to pay for them.
Yep. So come and support, or don't come at all, but still support.
Yeah.
And let's keep this movement going.
Yeah.
But I am so incredibly thankful to the universe, to every single person out there that is, to God, to everybody, to anything and everything that has helped contribute towards a positive outcome that we've received. I'm indebted to the world that I get to be sitting next to my wife for the next 70 years.
75.
75 years. It's such a treat, and we're so thankful. I can't vocalize it enough, but we are so incredibly thankful, and it's shocking how many people have witnessed the journey.
I know.
And that's the other thing, because what I'm hoping is that a lot of these people that are listening say, oh my gosh, my friend has it, and then they refer our podcast or your TikTok to them, so that they can follow, they can have someone to relate to, or have some information that they normally wouldn't be able to get outside of a doctor. So I know you have something on the tip of your tongue. But so what I want to say is that if you are going through this journey, if you're comfortable and capable, I would highly encourage you to vocalize it to the people around you, because it takes a tribe to do anything. It's a saying that I always say, it takes a tribe. To get through this much easier, you need support, and keeping it to yourself makes it doesn't allow for an abundance of support. If you vocalize it, people around you are there for you. They'll do meal trains and show up and comfort you and love you. And you just need all of that to get through this with a sound mind.
Yes.
So don't hoard it. Don't hide it. Don't be ashamed of it. It's what it is. Put it out there. And let the world love you and care for you and all the above.
Yeah, I think that, like, if you are unfortunate and find out something like that, it's scary as shit. It's very lonely, very isolating.
Yeah.
And so my biggest reason for sharing my journey was because I don't want someone to feel that way. I want them to realize that it doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't have to be, this traumatic experience that you just, like, where life stops. It doesn't have to stop. Like, it's all how you can mentally handle it.
Something else I want to make note of here, and I hope this travels. I think, Krystal, what % do you believe of your hair you lost, if any?
2%.
2%. Okay. Not everybody's going to have those results.
No.
And who knows? I mean, maybe people have better results and they'll save 100% of their hair.
Yeah.
Who knows what the number is? But what I want to just say is that Krystal didn't simply wake up on Wednesdays, go to the cancer facility, have the IV plugged into her, and sit in a chair and have Brandy and I swap these cold caps. That's one day a week's worth of work that Krystal also did. But in addition to that, for 9 months, every day, every second, for 9 months, Krystal took care of her health outside of that. Mm-hmm. She immediately quit drinking alcohol, which we love to have a drink here and there. So, for those that don't drink, great. And for those that do, it's just a sacrifice that you'll have to make.
Yeah.
She did not drink any alcohol. The second we found out about this, there wasn't another alcohol drink in her future.
Oh, I wanted to.
I bet.
But you kept me strong.
Almost zero sugar, sugars and everything. So it's kind of tough to say zero sugar, but as little sugar as she could possibly consume consciously. So no alcohol, no sugar, and then she immediately cut out meat. Now, my opinion as to why, because people go, well, why alcohol? Why sugar? Why meat? The first thing is that your body, meat isn't necessarily bad for you, but it takes a lot of energy for your body to break that stuff down.
And process it.
So wouldn't you rather, okay, so now you have that. Your body, you eat meat, your body has to break it down using a ton of energy. Alcohol, it suppresses your immune system, and generally it's full of sugar. So now your body has to process alcohol and process all the sugar that you've put into your body. And then you just have regular old sugar. What does that do? Cancer loves sugar. If you want to know how much it loves sugar, one of the ways that they find out where your cancer's at is they inject your body with sugar and then run you through a scanner and watch all the cancer mites come out and attack the sugar that they injected into your body. Mm-hmm. And they go, oh, you got cancer there, and you got cancer there, and you got cancer there. That's how much cancer loves sugar. So while Krystal did an amazing job with the cold capping and being tough enough to endure the pain and the medicine and the drugs of chemo, she made conscious lifestyle changes that I think helped contribute to her success. And so I think it's important to tell people the full story so that if all they're doing is cold capping and they're still losing some of their hair and wondering why, I would encourage you to take the next step, which is to make those lifestyle changes.
Yes, that, and I did green drinks all the time to keep my veggies. Like, it's hard to eat a whole bunch of veggies, but the green drinks and everything helps
Vitamins.
a lot. But there's also a lot of maintenance with the hair. Like, you have to wash your hair in cold water. You cannot wash it in hot water. You cannot treat your hair like color-wise. I still can't. For 6 months from my last capping session, I cannot color my hair. So I had to sleep on a satin pillow. What else? I couldn't use dry shampoo, which that's like my savior every single day, dry shampoo. You wash your hair once a week, which, normally you could just wash your hair once a week, but you need dry shampoo, So there's a lot of maintenance around the caps too, and you have to follow every step in order for it to be successful.
Yeah. Krystal did everything to her ability 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So if you know somebody going through this, make sure that you share, recommend, subscribe to our podcast, and listen to all of our episodes. I think it creates a lot of comfort. I know that if I had us out there when I first learned about this, I'd have listened to every single episode. I would have, for sure. So, great news, my love.
Yes.
You are a cancer-free, cancer-killing machine.
Yep. Nice try.
Nice try. You are absolutely beautiful. I am so proud of you. You deserve all the credit in the world. And you are an example to a lot of people on how to be a badass.
Well, thank you, babe.
Good job.
All very nice.
So, to learn more, make sure, here's something I think is interesting. We don't plug TikTok very much on here, but go to Krystal's TikTok, Krystal M. Galindo.
Yep.
KRYSTALM, as in Mary, Galindo, GALINDO. And that TikTok has a ton of the cold capping procedures and process, and there's a lot of fun videos and content, a lot of education. It's funny, it's educational. Yeah. She did a great job.
There's not as much on Instagram. I don't really put a whole lot of that on Instagram. So on my TikTok for sure. All right, we all know adulting is hard. You know what shouldn't be hard? Buying a house. Robert Coomer has helped us and our friends buy and refinance houses for the past 15 years. Every time we work with him, we know we're getting the best service possible, and that the person on the other end of that phone call has a smile on their face, and that leaves a smile on ours. Call Robert Coomer. He does all the heavy lifting for you so you can worry about more important things like what kind of wine pairs with your leftover pizza. But seriously, give him and his team a call at 702-850-2000. You won't regret it.
What do you talk about next?
Well, there's one thing I do want to touch on. When we found out, obviously, we're like overjoyed. It doesn't seem real. It takes time to hit you, all those things. And then everyone's like, how do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? It's like, I mean, I don't even know how I feel. I feel like that better have been my fucking news. Like, that's what I wanted to hear. But I will say, for other people, that the support shouldn't stop because I found out I'm cancer-free. Because I will say I definitely have a little bit of PTSD.
Absolutely, I do too.
There was maybe 4 days after, but I was just super emotional and angry and why I didn't know why I was feeling that way. And I think it was just all the pent up, energy and anxiety that you're trying to manage while waiting for your news, that it just kind of all hit me at once, and I have a little bit of PTSD from it. And one of my girlfriends texted me the other day, and she said, I know you're cancer-free, congratulations, but how are you feeling? And I was like, you know what? I feel like shit, which is crazy because I found out I'm cancer-free, but I just am a little traumatized. So if you know anybody that's going through it, just because they find out they're cancer-free doesn't mean the support should stop there. Continue to check on them because it's going to be a process for a while until they actually move out of that space in their mind.
I think you're 100% right. I think you suppress a lot of the feelings during the process so that you can stay focused on getting through the process.
Right.
And then once you get to the other side, you kind of have you're kind of given permission to feel.
Yeah.
And because I had a lot of that shit too. I was angry, I was irritable, I was frustrated, I was mad, I was feeling emotional. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I should be dancing in the rain right now.
And then you feel like you shouldn't be feeling that way, but you kind of have to move through those feelings in order to be excited. And
Yeah. Huh, man.
Right.
Fuck. There's a lot of emotions there. What a fucked up journey. But hey, we made it through it. And if we could be of support to somebody, we would love to be that for them. So
reach out on any social media platforms and Galindo Gives.
That's right. Galindo Gives. That'd be awesome. So please help support those. Help us support those. We are juiced in with Comprehensive Cancer, where they will help us identify people that...
Yes, and if you know somebody, you can nominate them as well.
Yeah. So, all right. I love you, honey.
I love you. Good job.
All right, guys. That's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for listening.
If you enjoyed the show, please rate, subscribe, and share our podcast. You can also connect with us on social media or at galindogrouprealestate.com.
Until next time, thanks again for listening.